Hey everyone, I'm your astrologer Brittany of Ethereal Astrology, taking you to new heights with inspired perspectives that transcend the details. Today, you're watching your astrology horoscope for the full moon in Capricorn, which occurs on Monday, July 3rd, 2023 at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time or 4:30 a.m. Pacific Time. What I think this full moon in Capricorn is really all about is us getting some very significant realizations here about why we are stuck in life now that we're in a new chapter and unable to move forward, being happy and feeling good, and how exactly to fix those things, which I think is very, very positive here, even if it is a little triggering, and even if we're still struggling to enact those solutions in the way that it is that we might like. So if you want to hear more about that, please do stay tuned. Before I hop into that though here, I do think that there are a few things that I think we need to have a talk, YouTube. I think there are a few things that I want to say here before I actually get into the astrology. Okay, and what I basically want to start to talk about here is the fact that my last video, for those of you who've been following me for a bit, for that new moon in Gemini, was not made live, was not made available anywhere on YouTube, anywhere in anything that I do. I just did not film that video for the new moon in Gemini. So I want to take a minute here which was 2 weeks ago, to talk about that. Okay, the reason why I did not film that video was for quite a few reasons. Okay, some of the reasons why I did not film that video is because I was sick and I just was feeling unwell. Okay, and like I just needed a break, and because I don't really get paid that much for this video on YouTube, so it was the one that to me that made the most sense to not do. Okay, the next reason why it does, the next thing I want to say is that this is not a permanent thing as of right now. I do intend to continue posting these YouTube videos for the new and the full moons here on a regular basis. That just happened to be a one-off situation. Okay, the next thing that I want to note as well about that video here and why it was not posted is because over the course of like the past 10 months, roughly, since last October, I don't know how long ago that was, I've been working on totally redesigning and rebranding everything here almost for my business to make it very different. For those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that I used to go by Wonder Girl under the name Wonder Girl Astrology, and I've changed my business name here to Ethereal Astrology. Okay, I did that because I'm very different. Since I started, people grow and change. I've grown and changed. I wanted to change my business to reflect my growth and to be a little bit more mature now that I'm older than I was, 5 or 6 years ago when I started my business here. And that has, been a hard thing. It's been a hard thing to do, to figure out what I want my new brand to be and what I want that to look like that's more in alignment with me, and to actually do it all. It's been a lot of work, especially rebranding while keeping up the normal business operations here that it is that I need to do. So I think I also just needed a break from this video as well, because of all the work that it's taken me to do that, and because of how really frustrating it's been, because I felt very out of alignment here in my life and with my business. Like, it's used to be Wonder Girl, but I want it to be something else, and I'm not there yet, and it's just been really hard. I have been trying to make space for the duality of like kind of being Wonder Girl, but kind of being Ethereal Astrology, especially because the fact that I am a Gemini and I have tons of planets in Gemini, which is all about twins and all about duality, but it's been really uncomfortable for me and not really a place that I want to be. I would rather just like have the new brand, the new identity, Ethereal Astrology here, and make that work. So that's been also a big challenge for me, and it's been hard for me. It's been increasingly hard for me over the course of the past few months, especially, to continue showing up here on YouTube and pretending that everything's okay, when really I'm very frustrated about my work and my business and my life and how this is all played out. Okay, so that's another reason why that video wasn't available for the time being here. That really isn't meant to be a personal thing that that's been wearing on me. Another thing here that I want to talk to you all about as well, when it comes to my work and my videos and my business here, this is how I make my living too, is that there's also been a huge sense here that this just isn't really working for me financially either. So even though I've put in so much effort, I think for the past 5-6 years to create, my YouTube channel and a lot of other things that I do and build my business here in the way that I would like, there's and to rebrand everything, there's also this sense here of just the money is really not there to support it, even though I've put in this effort, and almost really not enough money that I'm receiving from this business to continue doing it that much longer. And I feel like I'm kind of at a point here where I need to make some kind of decisions about what I want to do with astrology and with my business and how to move it forward. I think the reasons why I'm not making as much money as I would like to make here and need to make, to support myself doing astrology, is because I personally love in-depth horoscopes that are very long and deep astrology and like having deep conversations about spiritual topics. That's what I love. That's authentic to me. That's what's in my heart. And I continue to get feedback from people that you do not have time to watch long videos here and to devote that much time to perhaps your spiritual practice and to things like that, because I do tons of other videos on my website. I do about like 15 videos a week on my website at etherealastrology.com. And I keep getting feedback that you all just do not have the time for that here. So I've realized that a lot of people just aren't going to have the time for long videos or want to pay for them. I've thought of changing my business as to where I do a whole bunch of small and short astrology videos on Instagram, on YouTube, or otherwise, but that's just not authentic to me. I don't want to do short, superficial astrology videos here. That to me would feel really uncomfortable to me, and like I'm selling out and like I'm not being who I am here in that kind of way. So I've also been stuck there. I like long astrology videos. People just aren't willing to pay for that here and watch that. That is also a huge tension within myself here that is going on. And I do not want to do shorter ones because that would just be miserable for me here. And there's already other astrologers who do shorter videos who are great for that and insightful in their own ways. So I think that's been really hard for me. And so I think now I'm at the point where I'm trying to decide, and it's not going to happen now, right? Venus isn't even retrograde yet. It's definitely not going to happen, and while Venus is retrograde, that I make this decision here. But I'm basically trying to decide here, what do I do with my business here and the way that I do it? Do I continue with my long videos here and try to cultivate other sources of income like classes here on the side and things like that and hope that those make money? Or do I stop my long videos altogether here? That's going on because they take tons of time and tons of energy to film here. That's going on, and basically just change my entire business. So all I do is sell courses here that are super simple because that's what it seems like you all want. And all I do is just 60-second videos on Instagram and TikTok, and that's all you get from me ever, so I'm trying to decide if I do that here. That's going on. I definitely want to continue doing astrology in some capacity and owning my own business. I can't imagine working for someone else again. If we can be honest, I can't imagine working for someone else again. I can't imagine doing something that's not spiritual, since that is a big part of me and who I am here. But it's just a matter of me figuring out what I want to do here, and something has to give. Something has to give. Either I have to figure out how to do other things other than long videos that will actually make money here, or I have to totally change my business to make it easier on me so that I'm not so stressed with all these other videos and things like that. Or perhaps there's another option, or people like you need to change to value more of the spiritual and the astrological stuff and to take more time to dive into your spiritual pursuits. Could be either. It's just like, I don't know yet. I don't know what it is. I got to figure it out here. And that's where I'm at. So I think that's just what I wanted to share with you all for now here, because I did get actually quite a few, maybe not a lot, but I did get a few emails and questions here when I didn't show up for that last video 2 weeks ago on the new moon in Gemini about why and where it was and where they could get it here. And I just wanted to share that so that you all know where I'm coming from here, and so that I can be real with you all and be authentic and stop pretending to be something I'm not, or to pretend that everything's great with my business when I'm really actually frustrated here about it, about my website and my membership, which I haven't talked to them about here, and about my relationship with you all here on YouTube. Okay, so I just thought I would let you know, just for the sake of transparency here, about where I'm at, in case some weird things happen over the course of the next few months, or there's some changes that are made here over the course of the next few months and into next year. Okay, but that's what I'm going to say there. Do with that information what you will. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop into this video in order to get started. What I like to do in these videos is basically just place on the chart what it is that I'm referring to so that you can see it and follow along with me. So I'm going to do that now. This video is for the full moon in Capricorn. Because of that, I have adjusted this chart accordingly to reflect that. I know that because I've got the moon here in Capricorn at 11 degrees, exactly opposite here, the sun in Cancer at 11 degrees. And when the moon opposes the sun here like this, that is what is considered here a full moon. Okay, so we've got the full moon in Capricorn. What is that all about? Well, full moons to me are all about stepping into something that we have been working towards for quite some time here. And bringing that kind of to a culmination point or a completion. Not only are full moons about that, but because they are when the moon is the brightest in the sky, they to me also do indicate and bring some sort of significant insight, revelation, illumination, clarity that perhaps we also have been trying to get for quite some time here as well. Not only are full moons about that, but to me, they're also about endings as well. Ending things, right? Letting things go, especially with it being here when the moon is the furthest from the sun here and ushering in the second half of the lunar cycle. Okay, not only that, but I also do consider full moons as well to be a lot about decisions here that might need to be made, especially because a full moon is a function of an opposition, which indicates decisions because it's hard to do two things here at once. Okay, so that's a lot of what's happening here, full moon, stepping into something we've been working towards for a while and getting very strong insights here about that and possibly even about what needs to end with it here and making some decisions about all of that in some sort of way. Okay, what is it that we're stepping into, getting insights on, maybe ending here and making decisions about Capricorn, right? Because that's where the full moon actually is. Okay, what is Capricorn all about? Well, Capricorn is a Saturn ruled sign here, which can be rather serious here, practical, realistic, and focused on the long-term goal or in the long-term interest. So I think we're really stepping into a lot of seriousness here around our lives and what we want to accomplish and trying to be more practical and realistic about it. Not only that, but I also need to note as well that because Capricorn is a Saturn ruled sign, Saturn can bring restriction or delays here too. I think it's also us as well at this full moon trying to get insights, not only trying to be serious here about what is going on in our lives, you know, where they're going and what's going to happen, but I think we're also too trying to get serious about why we're feeling stuck in life or like it's pulling teeth in life and hard to move forward here in some kind of way as well that's going on. Okay, not only that, but Capricorn too, being also a sign ruled by Saturn here and having to do with responsibility, you know, hard work, all of the things like that here that's going on, which can become a little too much, right? A little too much because full moons can be a big energy. So too with Pluto back in the sign. I think this is us also perhaps realizing that maybe we have been too hardworking, too responsible, too strict here, maybe even too harsh in our lives here as well. And that is what's keeping us stuck here and that's what needs to end here in order for us to move forward. Which I'll explain more about later, and that we need to make some hard decisions here in order to come to terms with and figure out here as we move onwards, especially too with Capricorn being a Saturn ruled sign, also too about decisions as well, not just in opposition, but Saturn too, Capricorn about decisions and sacrifices and things like that, okay? So what that means to me now, to continue to bring it together here so far, is that what is going on here at this full moon in Capricorn is that we are starting to be, I think, more serious, practical, and realistic about our lives and where they're going and about what is keeping us stuck from moving forward, because I definitely believe that something is keeping us stuck here so that we can get answers and revelations here about why that is and overcome it. Okay, and us being serious about why we're stuck and trying to get answers about it is working to actually give us answers here about why we are stuck and unable to move forward, which is that we have been for a while too strict, too structured, too serious, too responsible here. That is actually part of the problem now, and it's preventing us from moving forward, that we now need to make decisions here to maybe sacrifice or let go of here in order for us to move forward in a much better way. Okay, so that's what I think is happening here at this full moon in Capricorn. Now, before I move forward to give you more detail about that and about how I came up with that interpretation, because there's a lot that went into that here that you didn't see, I'm going to go backwards in time for a minute before I go forwards. And I want to go backwards in time for a minute before I move forward so that you can just get more of the context of how we got here and of why this happened and of why this is now coming up to be felt, lived through, and experienced. And to give you that context, I'm actually going to go back quite a bit, as I like to do and normally do for those of you who watch me, to an alignment that occurred, it feels like a long time ago now, in between January to April of 2020 in order to catch us up. So let's do that. And if you don't want to watch this, you can fast forward, of course, always ahead in the video. Right? And January, in between January to April of 2020, what happened is we had Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn come into a rare, unusual, and difficult conjunction here in the sign of Capricorn, right? The same sign this full moon's at, around 22, 23 degrees, right around there. Okay, what was that alignment all about? Well, let me start by saying that this is a very rare alignment because Saturn and Pluto only come conjunct every 35 years and not always with Jupiter there. That's even more rare. Okay, not only is it a rare alignment, but it's also a very uncomfortable one as well because Saturn and Pluto just tend to be more challenging and bring more difficult events here in our life and in our experience. And Jupiter doesn't like to be in Capricorn. It wasn't really helping that too much. Okay, what was the difficult, rare thing that was going on there? Well, I think that was us starting to realize or understand with Jupiter there between January to April of 2020 that something in the structure of our lives, Saturn and Capricorn, was not right. We did not like that, maybe had persisted for many decades, 35 years prior to that, and now needed to change. Pluto permanently, fundamentally change in a very big way in order for us to overcome these negative experiences that we no longer liked or felt connected to here and move forward in a different way. Okay, so I think that's what what happened there. And I think in between January to April of 2020 and the next 2 years, we then took a lot of time to do that, to realize what wasn't working in our lives anymore from the past 35 years and make changes to end that so that we can move onwards. That then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which occurred around April also here of 2022. Around April of 2022 here, we had a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Taurus right about here somewhere that occurred. Now, I did like this new moon solar eclipse here because it was on the North Node, which to me is more of a helpful influence, having a lot to do with our purpose and our destiny. So I liked this. What was that about? Well, new moons are all about new beginnings. Solar eclipse is superpower. That Taurus is about fertility and abundance and new life here starting to emerge in some sort of way. So in April of 2022, I think after a lot of hard change and hard realizations from the past 2 years prior, we finally started to get our foot in the door, a little bit of a new, different, better, and more fertile experience of life that was more in alignment with our needs and values, which I thought was very, very good here. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which occurred about 2 weeks after that, still somewhere in April of 2022, I believe. And that was when we had a full moon lunar eclipse here in Scorpio on the South Node in the opposite sign. Now, this to me was a little bit more of a difficult alignment here because it was on the South Node, and the South Node is a bit of a challenge here about things in life that aren't working for us that we need to let go of. So this to me was a bit hard here, also to indicating stuckness with the South Node here and unable to move forward. So I think this was difficult. What was difficult about it? Well, Scorpio is very insightful. The South Node indicates stuckness and restriction here. So I think this was us realizing 2 weeks after we started to feel like we were in a new and better experience, like something wasn't right and like we were still feeling stuck and unable to move forward in the way that we wanted to here in order to continue with these good things that were happening. Not only was it us realizing that we were stuck and unable to move forward, but I think it was also us realizing as well that in order for us to get unstuck here, that we needed to fundamentally change Scorpio and release South Node, some of our natural habits, traits, and tendencies here, and cultivate different ones that are more conducive to the new chapter of life here and what we're trying to create here so that we can build those, and that the habits and tendencies tendencies that we needed to let go of that are no longer working for us anymore are Scorpio habits, traits, and tendencies, where we're giving our power too much away to other people, or too concerned or intertwined with them, where we're spending too much money or relying on other people too much here for money in some sort of way that's going on, and in which we have a lot of intense emotions and are making too many unnecessary changes here. We needed to let go of those and adopt more Taurus traits. Slow Taurus, stable, secure, thrifty, self-reliant, here independent and confident. Okay, and I think that was very interesting and helpful. They were meant to be helpful realizations that we received in April of 2022. But even though they were very interesting and helpful realizations, I think they were so big and so significant here that it actually took us almost all of last year to really figure out what that meant and what that was, and to really get that through our heads here about why we were stuck and what habits we needed to release and what needed to go on. It really wasn't until the end of last year, December of 2022, and into the beginning of this year, January of 2023, when I think we started to get it, because that was when Mercury went retrograde here in the sign of Capricorn after Mars had gone retrograde in Gemini for the previous year. Okay, and Mercury went retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in almost that same exact spot where Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter came conjunct in the years prior to that. And I think it was that Mercury retrograde, especially right after the Mars retrograde, in December of 2022 and January of 2023, that helped us finally get it through our heads here what the correct approach was to this different and better experience of life, and what old habits and things we needed to let go of. Not only in December of 2022 to January of 2023 did we start to get it through our head what needed to happen, but we also as well started to make more changes, I think, with our actual relationships and with our actual money, to let go of the dead weight, to let go of the stuff that wasn't working anymore in favor of this new perspective, so that we can move onwards. And because we finally got the new perspective that we needed, slow, stable, secure, thrifty, self-reliant, in January of 2023, okay, and released more dead weight with the relationships and money that weren't working for us, we then, a few months later, I believe it was March, it was right around March of 2023, had two planets, slower moving planets, change signs. Pluto move into Aquarius and Saturn move into Pisces here. And that indicated, I think, a very significant change in the chapter and story of our lives, especially because these planets don't change signs too often, indicating that we then were feeling more able to step now into that new and better experience that arrived perhaps a year prior at that new moon solar eclipse in April of 2022, especially in a more freeing, liberating, and authentic way with Pluto and Aquarius that was more in tune with who we truly are and our emotions, with Saturn here in Pisces, that I think was very, very good. And because that happened, we then had a new moon solar eclipse in Aries. Okay, about April, right around April, about a month later here, finally making us feel more ready to approach and embrace a new and better experience of life that we've been trying to get to since 2020, and that kind of came at 2022 here, and to move forward on it in a healthier way, having learned a different perspective that was more masterful about our experience, which I really, really liked. But when we started to move forward on that new and better experience, especially at the new moon in Taurus around May of 2023, roughly, I think we then all of a sudden started to feel stuck all over again, here, moving into this new, different, and better experience of life here, and felt unable to fully receive the goodness, the blessings, the joy, the happiness of this new experience here that was coming, that was very hard, and left us last new moon in Gemini, which I did not do a video for, very confused, right? That was what that was all about. It was square Neptune. Very confused now about why we're in a better experience of life, where we want to be, but we're still having difficulty bringing things together and moving forward, even though we've already made so many changes to figure things out. Okay, and because we're in a new and better experience of life, yet we're stuck all over again, like we have been here, even though we're trying so hard. This full moon in Capricorn here, of which this video is for now, is about us trying to get real serious here about why we're stuck, again here after what we've been through, and about how we can fix this and overcome this and move past this, and what the issue is now after all we've been through. And we actually are at this full moon in Capricorn getting answers. not just getting serious and trying to figure it out, but getting answers about why that is. And the answer that we're getting about why we are stuck again after all we've been through and unable to move forward in a new experience of life, receiving blessings, is because we're being too harsh, too serious, too responsible here, too strict in our situation. Now that's stopping our growth, and that we really need to end that or let that go and make some of the hard decisions and sacrifices here in order for that to happen. Okay, so that's what's going on there. Okay, in terms of the context, because that's all I'm going to say now in terms of the past few years. I'm now just going to repeat that very briefly and very quickly here so you can get a better sense of what I think is happening. So let me do that. What I think is going on, a big picture here of this full moon in Capricorn, of which this video is for, is that we're trying to get real serious here about why we're stuck and unable to move forward into a new, different, and better experience of life time after time after time, again and again and again, so that we can fully figure out how to nip this in the bud and break through it here and move forward. Not only at this full moon in Capricorn are we trying to figure out why we keep getting stuck again and again and again in a new and better experience of life that we've been working towards for a while here, but it's also as well about us getting the answers, getting good answers, or a lot of answers and insights here that we've been needing for a while about why this is here that is causing us to feel stuck and feel blocked. And the answer that we're getting about why we're feeling stuck and why we're feeling blocked and unable to move forward here is because we've been for a while too strict, too stiff, too tough, too responsible, too serious, stuck in emergency mode here that's making it hard for us, that we now need to get rid of or end or let go of and make the decisions to do in order for us to move forward in the way that it is that we might like. Okay. And that's it. And because that's all I'm going to say now in terms of the context, I'm now going to give you more specifics and more details about this full moon itself and how it's going to play out. And in particular with this video about how I came up with that interpretation here so that, of course, you can get a better understanding of it. So I'm going to do that in order to start now by talking more specifically about this full moon and what it's doing and how it's going to play out and how I came up with this interpretation. I think I have to start by talking about Pluto here at the 29th degree here of Capricorn, because it did just retrograde back into it not too long ago here, like a few weeks ago. And because this is one of the last times Pluto is going to be in Capricorn ever in our lifetimes here that's going on. So I feel I have to start with that because of those reasons. Not only do I feel as though I have to start with Pluto because of those reasons, but also too because the full moon is in the sign of Capricorn, the same sign Pluto's in here, around one of the last times Pluto's ever going to be in Capricorn in our lifetime here. So I feel like I have to mention it because of that. I am aware that the full moon is not conjunct Pluto and that they are actually quite a lot of degrees apart. Okay. I am aware of that, but even though they are not conjunct and they are quite a few degrees apart here, I think it's undeniable that they are related here, because they are in the same sign, right? And planets in the same sign, whether they're conjunct or not, share something in common and feel each other. They feel each other. They know they're there. Okay. Here. And because this alignment is so rare with Pluto here for the last time, I feel like I have to mention it. And because this is my horoscope, right? This is my horoscope. This is the way I like to interpret things. This is my intuition here. And because I feel like it's relevant and I feel like it's important. So we're going to start there here in order to bring some things together. All right. What is it that I want to say here about Pluto in the sign of Capricorn here for the last time? Pluto. When Pluto enters a sign, right? And it's been in Capricorn since 2015, right? Sorry, 2008. It's been in Capricorn since 2008, which is there for about 15 years. Okay, spent most of the past 15 years there. When Pluto enters a sign, which it did with Capricorn in 2008 here, what it does is it takes that sign to an unhealthy and unbalanced degree here that's no longer useful here, that's no longer useful for our situation, that we then need to sort through in order to bring it back into balance, right? Bring it back into balance and bring it into a healthier expression. Okay, so when Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, what happened is that it started to take the Capricorn traits to a very unhealthy and unbalanced extreme. It didn't do it all at once, right? Because Pluto was there for 15 years. It didn't do it all at once, but little by little by little, as it moved inch by inch by inch, degree through Capricorn, it brought more unhealthy and unbalanced Capricorn traits, okay? What is it when Capricorn gets too extreme, unhealthy, imbalanced? Well, what is Capricorn here? Capricorn, okay, is a lot about being Saturn ruled, is a lot about being serious. As we already talked about in this video with the full moon, it's a lot about structuring our lives. It's about managing things, controlling things. It's a lot about making hard sacrifices here. That's going on. It's a lot about being more responsible. It's a lot about status, reputation, your career, success here. That's happening. That's going on. So little by little, since 2008 to now, the past 15 years, what has happened is that we and the world, the collective here, has become too much Capricorn, too strict, too serious, too harsh, too unforgiving, too cold, right? With Capricorn being correlated to winter. Okay, too cold, too harsh, too responsible, too stiff, too stuck in emergency mode here, too concerned about reputation and status and appearance here. That's going on. That has been really hard, creating us to live hollow lives, right? To live a life that doesn't feel comfortable, that doesn't feel soft, that doesn't feel in touch with our emotions. That's not truly who we are, but what we think we should be in order to get status and be liked and all this other stuff. And in order to prevent bad things from happening here, that's going on, right? That's what has happened. And with Pluto now at the last degree of this sign, we have to end that, right? We have to end that. We have to change that. That's why Pluto is about permanent change and transformation, because something's not right. It's unbalanced and it needs to be changed and transformed in order to be brought back into balance, right? So with Pluto now at the last degree of Capricorn here, about to leave it forever in our lifetimes, we're having to learn how to quit this imbalance, how to quit this too much Capricorn, too harsh, too extreme, too stiff, too tough here, and to permanently change how the Capricorn energy is fundamentally expressed here so that it's not unhealthy and it is more balanced in the way that it needs to be. And this full moon, which is not conjunct Pluto, but is in the same sign here, is feeling that here, that this Pluto, this past 15 years, this Pluto problem from the past 15 years where we've been too hard, too cold, too stiff, too tough here, that's going on and does not like it, especially with Pluto at the last degree, and is realizing that maybe now with Pluto at the last degree, there's something not right. That's caused a lot of hard times and trauma. Pluto causes trauma. That has caused us a lot of hard times and a lot of trauma from the past few years, because either we've ignored our emotions or other people have ignored it. That now needs to be fixed. It now needs to be ended. Full moon ended. 29 degrees. Last degree ended, released, let go of, changed. Hard decisions here in order for that to occur. So I think that that's the first thing, right, that I want to say here at this point in the video, now that I'm going more into the specifics about it. Here is that this is where a lot of my interpretation is coming from, okay? That this full moon in Capricorn is sure us stepping into more seriousness, right? That's a Capricorn trait, to get answers about why we are stuck. But that answer we're getting about why we are stuck, Pluto. We are stuck because Pluto, because for the past 15 years, since 2008 to now, here, still, we have become too Capricorn, too harsh, too strict, too tough, too unforgiving, too much work, too much responsibility, too much concerned about reputation and status here at the expense of our soul, of our heart, of our emotion, of the better times of life here that is going on, okay? All right. And you don't have to take my word for it. Look at the world. Look at the United States, right? The United States has had its Pluto return. The United States has Pluto natally in the sign of Capricorn here at the later degrees, 27, 28. Look at the United States. That's what it's become. Too much about your reputation and career and people in power and people in business and government taking advantage of everyone else, of all the little people. You know, that's going on. Being too harsh and cold and unforgiving. You know, you don't have to take my word for it. You can just look at these things that are going on. Okay. All right. the full moon is helping us understand that this is now the issue and that it needs to be changed. Not only that, but maybe I need to take it a step further here. The full moon is also helping us understand, especially with Venus in pre-retrograde shadow in Leo, about to go retrograde in the next few weeks, but not retrograde yet, that is the core problem preventing us from what? Venus receiving. Venus is about receiving. It's a feminine principle. Leo, happiness, joy, blessings. And also to courage. To me, Leo is about courage, moving forward with more boldness. It's preventing us from receiving and being happy, joyful, courageous, and bringing more things together in our lives. That is going on, okay? Because Venus, again, pre-retrograde shadow. Why? Why is that correlation now? Maybe I need to draw the line here to help some of you all understand why too much Capricorn, too harsh, too structured, too responsible, stuck in emergency mode is making it hard for us to be happy and receive blessings. Okay, and move forward and essentially move forward into a better experience of life, right? Why is this? Well, when you are stuck in emergency mode, when you are stuck too serious, too strict, always having to be on guard because something's going to go wrong, you don't feel like you can be happy. You don't feel like you can bring something good into your life because you aren't in touch with what actually makes you happy, because you're ignoring that and being something that you aren't. And because even if something good did happen, you would be so afraid that an emergency is going to occur and that something's going to go wrong with it, and that you're going to have to overly manage and control it away in order for it to occur. Okay. So are you understanding here? Yeah, this full moon in Capricorn, we're getting real serious to figure out why the heck we're stuck. Again, when it comes to moving forward into a new, different, and better experience of life, and can just never seem to get our stride and can just never seem to break through it all. Okay, and the answer that we're getting about why we are stuck and just unable to, unable to break through it all is because over the course of the past 15 years, since 2008 until now, we've gradually become too Capricorn, too strict, too tough, too harsh, too unforgiving on ourselves and others, ignoring of our emotions, too concerned about reputation and status and what other people think of us here, and stuck in emergency mode, which is making it unable for us to move forward, being happy in a better experiences. Because when you are stuck in emergency mode, you do not feel worthy of new experiences. You do not feel worthy of good experiences. You do not feel able to create them because you're not in touch with your heart and what your heart wants here. And because even if something good did happen, you would think it's an emergency that now needs to be managed and controlled away and be afraid the old bad things are going to repeat again. Here, that's going on. Okay. So that is the issue here that we're realizing is the problem that now needs to be fixed before we can move forward. Because Venus hasn't even gone retrograde yet, even though it's in a pre-retrograde shadow, before we can move forward again, we have to resolve this issue before forward momentum can commence, okay? Not only that, but now I'm gonna add something new onto this interpretation in this video that I haven't already said, okay? What I want to add on here is another perhaps unique thing. And that's another insight that I think we're getting at this full moon in Capricorn here as well. A second one, in addition to the one I just spoke about. Okay, I think there's two coming. Okay, not only do I think we're getting the insight about what I just spoke of, why we are stuck and unable to move forward, being happy, receiving blessings in our life, which is what we're too harsh, too stiff, too stuck in emergency mode. But I think we're getting another insight here as well. And I think the other insight we're getting is about how exactly to fix this. How do we fix this? How to fix this problem that we've become too Capricorn, unbalanced in this degree. And the insight that I think we're getting about how to fix this has to do with, two things. One, the fact that the sun, which is connected to this full moon, is in Cancer, conjunct Mercury. Here that's going on, and is also as well because of the opposite point of Pluto, or the polarity point of Pluto here is in Cancer as well. The same sign, yes, that the sun and Mercury are in, which I just noted. And the opposite point or polarity point of Pluto is super important to me because I do a different type of astrology than many others do, which is called evolutionary astrology, as taught by Jeffrey Wolf Green. Okay, and Jeffrey Wolf Green's type of evolutionary astrology teaches here that the way to work with Pluto, here to bring it back into balance when it's out of balance, is to cultivate the exact opposite point of Pluto. Okay, and the exact opposite point of Pluto is essentially the medicine to the problem to help fix it here, or the solution to the problem here, or the way to evolve and change forward that's going on. And it is the solution to the problem, because that is how you bring opposites into balance. It's the law of polarity, a natural law of the universe, right? When you're out of balance one way, how do you bring it back into balance? Well, you go out of balance the exact opposite way. And you keep going back and forth until you meet in the middle, right? That's how you bring opposites into balance. Too much one way, okay. Well, let's now go too much in the other way until we meet somewhere in the middle. That's going on. So we're realizing we got a problem, too much Capricorn, strict, harsh, structured, too concerned about career, reputation, all of that, and that we now need to fix it. And that the way to fix it is to go in the exact opposite direction than what we've been doing the past 15 years here in order to make things better. And what is that opposite direction? Cancer. What is Cancer about? Well, Cancer is the opposite of Capricorn, right? So let's think about this. If Capricorn is too harsh, and if Capricorn is too structured, and too stiff and too concerned about status, what is Capricorn? What is Cancer? It's none of that. Cancer doesn't care about status, reputation, career, what other people think. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Cancer's not too hard, not too stiff, not too tough. It's concerned only about the emotions, only about the heart and soul, only about what you're feeling, only about what's personal. Not only is Cancer concerned about that, but it can be, not all the time, okay, but it can be very soft and very nurturing and very kind and very warm. And Cancer has tons of feelings all the time about everything, and can be very intuitive here as well. So it's a need to cultivate more of that, and to an extreme degree, in order to bring these opposites into balance. Not only that, but Cancer too is a lot about home and family and safe spaces, cultivating more safe spaces or more home and family, better home and family situations for you in whatever way that might be here, that feel more grounded as well in order to move forward here. That's going on. So do you see? Not only are we realizing at this full moon in Capricorn here, by being serious here, that the reason why we're stuck now again is because we have been too Capricorn for too long, too stiff, too structured, too responsible, too cold, too controlled, stuck in emergency mode here, which has caused a lot of trauma over the course of the past 15 years in our lives. But that now we need to fix that by going in the exact opposite direction to a more extreme degree here, which is by being the opposite. Too sensitive, too emotional, too sweet, too caring, too compassionate, right? Too intuitive, too nurturing, creating too many safe spaces, doing too much with the home and family, or creating better home and family situations here. That's going on because that is how you bring opposites into balance until you meet somewhere in the middle here. That's going on. Okay. I think that's what's happening here. Not only that, but now I'm going to move on and I'm going to talk about another alignment. Not only is that occurring here, but also this full moon, we've got Mercury here in Cancer making a bit of a square over here to Chiron in Aries here. That's going on. And this can be a little bit of a challenging alignment. Not like Pluto to a 29th degree of Capricorn is a walk in the park. Not like that's a walk in the park here or a full moon in Capricorn, but this can also be a bit of a challenge here, and it can be a bit of a challenge because it is a square and because Chiron here is involved, which does have to do with triggers, fears, and insecurities here that's going on. So this can be a bit difficult. Now, what is the difficult thing about this? Well, Aries is a lot about our identity here and who we are, and it's also too about our actions and how we behave here. That's going on, and it's squaring the insights we just got, the two insights about what our issue is and how to fix it. And so this is us feeling hurt and uncomfortable when it comes to these insights that we're receiving here about what our problem is and about how to fix it, and feeling hurt and uncomfortable about these insights, what our problem is and how to fix it, because Aries, our identity, it doesn't feel like us. It doesn't feel like our identity. It's foreign to us, right? It's hard to all of a sudden just be like, oh, I've been too stiff and too structured for so long. Now I'm just going to feel all the feelings and be intuitive and just nurture myself and rest and all of that. It's hard to just flip a switch and be like, done, now I'm moving on, when you've been one way for so long prior to this point here that's been happening. So I think that these insights are actually very uncomfortable here, a little triggering for us, feel foreign, 2 sizes too big, not what we're used to here. That's hard. Not only that, but with Aries being about acting, it's also making us feel like hard to act on, hard to act on these insights here, hard to act on these insights here in order to do them, right? In order to actually fix them, in order to actually fix the problem here that is happening in our lives, and be more sentimental and honor more of our emotions and bring things back into balance here as well, and making us feel a bit stuck here in our situation. That can be a bit of a challenge, okay? Not knowing what to do or how to enact these insights. And I need to say one other thing. I didn't say this earlier, but I need to bring this through. Hard to act on these insights, to be more sensitive, more caring, more nurturing, more sentimental, all of that, stuck, not wanting to act on those. Why? Why is that going to fix things? Why is us going in the opposite direction, too sentimental, caring, nurturing, following our emotions? Why is that going to fix things when it comes to moving forward and receiving blessings into our lives, right? I told you why that was going to fix things to bring Capricorn into balance, but why is that going to fix things in terms of Venus retrograde in Leo to have us move forward being happy and receiving blessings? Because when you honor your emotions, and when you're more sensitive and soft and relaxed and feel safe, it's easier for you to do things and to be happy and to accept blessings and to bring things together, because you're like, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling nice and cozy. I'm feeling comfortable. I feel in touch with myself. Like, let me have fun. I deserve all the good things, So that's the reason why we need to cultivate that in order to get unstuck and get moving again. And we're feeling uncomfortable cultivating that, right? Because it's not what we've been doing here, and because we don't know how to do it or are afraid to do it, making us feel stuck. Okay, so what now is the advice? Now that I've gone over all of that, what now is the advice here that I want to give you? Well, the advice that I want to give you is actually because of a lot of things, like the way I interpret the astrology. It's never just one thing that makes me say something. It's usually a lot of things. But the one thing I'll attribute it to in this video here is this full moon in Capricorn is making a trine over here to Jupiter in Taurus, okay? Which I consider to be a positive alignment here, relieving a lot of the tension from this full moon. And I consider to be a positive alignment here because it's a trine, which can be helpful, and because I tend to like Jupiter as bringing wisdom, understanding, and optimism here that's going on. So this to me is the advice meant to be helpful to release some of the tension. What is the advice here? Well, again, Jupiter is about wisdom, understanding here, and optimism about our situation. It's also in Taurus about stability and security and getting more confident with these insights that the full moon brought with it, connecting to the full moon. So the advice here for this full moon is not for you to necessarily act on these insights that you're getting this week, because again, we're triggered by them. They feel out of our comfort zone, but just to take the time, Jupiter, to more fully understand them and get used to them and feel excited and optimistic about them, and to let them sink in to our identity and our soul and who we are before taking action, which really will not come until a later date, the next new moon here and even after that. Okay, so that's the advice that I want to give you here. It's hard to act on these insights. It's a lot. I get it. Okay, don't try to act on these insights. Just sit with them. Just sit with them and get more wisdom and understanding, because that is going to help you act to fix this later on. Okay, when? Now let me go a little bit forward in time for a minute. When are you going to act to fix this problem here, now that we've gotten out of balance, and to fix this stuckness? Well, I think we're going to start to try to act 2 weeks from now at the next new moon in Cancer, right on the opposite point of Pluto around there, to fix this. But even though we're going to start to try 2 weeks from now at the new moon in Cancer to fix this imbalance and to get unstuck, I think it's going to take us almost all of Venus retrograde in Leo to really figure that out. And Venus is going to go retrograde in Leo until early September sometime. And I think it's also going to take us after that, because Mercury is going to go retrograde in Virgo right when Venus finishes. And even after that until next eclipse season, because eclipses are important and powerful here that's going on. Okay, and we're having the last eclipse, I believe it's a full moon in Taurus, solar eclipse in Taurus here, that we've been working with for a while. So the next thing that I want to say here is that the advice for this time period, this full moon, is not to take tons of actions to fix your life. I don't think you're ready for that here. Hold off on that, but to just get used to these significant insights and realizations here that it is that you are getting, and wait to act until at least 2 weeks from now, okay? Even though you probably aren't going to really resolve this issue until October. Okay? This is going to take you months to figure out. Do you see? Where are we now? July, August, September, October. This issue that I'm just explaining it's going to take you 4 months to figure out here, to fully fix. Okay? And you got to wait and give yourself the time to work through it. And maybe I need to say a bit more. It's going to take you 4 months to fully fix here, because we've been living too much Capricorn for the past 15 years. You can't just fix that overnight. You can't just fix that overnight. You can't just fix that in a day. You can't just fix that. It needs time. And 4 months is not that long here in order to fix it. It's going to take us 4 months to really figure that out and bring things back into balance here in the way that it is that we need. Not only do I want to say that it's going to take us 4 months to fix this till October, but I also want to note as well, now I'm going to go way ahead, that once we fix this problem in October here and rebalance the Capricorn, so that we're not too much strict, cold, structured, and we're balancing that with Cancer emotions. Once we do that, October, we're then still not going to be ready to act. We're then still not going to be ready to act and move forward until the following astrological year, Aries season in April. And we're still not going to be ready to act until the following year, Aries season, April, and to move forward better here, because after we recover our emotions and bring things back into balance in October, our perspective on life will have changed so much. You will be like a totally different person. Okay, your perspective on life will have changed so much, and who you are and what's important to you here, that you're going to want to do something totally different or do something in a totally different way than you thought here, which is going to require a recalibration period here until the following April, when you'll start to feel more able to do more things or bring things together here in a much better way. Okay. And it's really next April when we're going to start to feel like there's a little bit more forward momentum, even though we're not out of the woods yet next year either. I believe Pluto's moving back into Capricorn next year. So even though next April, we're going to feel a little bit more out of the woods, right? Able to move forward more, better, faster. There's still a lot of things we're going to have to clean up. A lot of things we're going to have to clean up now from these past few years that weren't done the best since 2020, with this more emotional, heart-based perspective here as well, in order to keep things together. So, now 2024, next year, April, things are going to get a little easier to do, a little more forward momentum, but it's going to be in a very different way than it was before. And we're going to have a lot of things to clean up in order to make that happen here. That's going on. It's really not until 2025 when things get faster. Okay. And after 2025, 26, and 2027 to me and 2028, they seem really powerful years of like massive change and transformation. So keep that in mind here as well. This is what's happening, and it's a longer journey here that's going to take some time, because again, the universe, spirit, God, the divine wants real growth here, real permanent lasting change, and not this fake change. And when you do things fast, you cut a lot of corners here, and that's just not the way that life works a lot of times. Okay, so that's where we are. Because of that, I'm just going to repeat that here one last time, and then I think I've got one other point to say, and then I'll look at your inside degree and I'll pull your card. So let me do that here. What is going on here at this full moon in Capricorn is that we're trying to get real serious here about why we're feeling stuck in life again. Now that we're in some new, different, and better experience and able to really move forward, appreciating it, being happy in it, and bringing more things together, because we're tired of it and this has gone on for so long. Okay, and us being serious and really trying to figure that out is actually working to give us a very significant realization about why we are stuck here. That's been going on. And the realization that we're getting about why we are stuck is that over the course of the past 15 years, while Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, we've become too hard, too stiff, too structured, too serious, and too concerned with our career, reputation, and status that we've ignored our emotions, been stuck in emergency mode, and now feel unworthy of receiving good things into our lives and blessings, like we're going to mess it up and like everything's going to go wrong here. That is happening. Okay, not only are we realizing that is why we are stuck here, but we're also realizing as well at this full moon that there is a way to fix it, and that the way to fix this stuckness, because we're too stiff, too hard, too cold, is to go in the exact opposite direction, almost to an extreme degree, in order to bring these opposites into balance, and to go in the exact opposite direction by not caring about status, reputation, what other people saying or at all, and by not caring about structure and responsibility and serious and too cold and too harsh, and instead being very emotional, very sensitive, very intuitive here, very caring, very nurturing of ourselves and our emotions here, and focusing on creating more safe spaces with ourselves and working things out with home and family here in a much better way. Because the more that we honor our emotions and feel safer and more secure, the easier it's going to be for us to be happy and receive blessings and to move forward, because we're going to know what we're actually feeling and be in touch with that, and because we're going to feel calm and at ease enough in order to embrace it without pushing it away. Okay, and that we need to make a conscious choice here in order to do that. And that is all very beautiful realizations here. But even though those are all very beautiful realizations here at this time that we've been needing and waiting for a while, they feel uncomfortable and out of our comfort zone, because we haven't been doing that for such a very, very long time. And now we need to. Here, and they feel foreign and not like us. And because they feel foreign and uncomfortable and not like us, we then also feel stuck and don't want to put them into action, or don't know how to put them into action, or don't know what to do. That's a bit hard. And because we're getting some beautiful insights here about our life and what's wrong and how to fix it, but we're just feeling too hard, and or we're just feeling too uncomfortable and triggered by these things, and like they're foreign and uncomfortable here, I'm going to give you some advice. And the advice that I want to give you here about this is to really not try to put these insights to fix anything in your life quite yet, because I do not think that you're ready, and to instead just wait to sit with these insights and to get more wisdom and understanding about what they exactly are and what is exactly going on and how it exactly applies to your life here, so that you can better understand it and feel more optimistic about it, and act later, not now, act at a later date in order to fix this problem and to bring things into balance here once you have a better understanding inside of what's going on. And when you act here to bring these things into balance, it will most likely start 2 weeks from now around that new moon in Cancer, but probably last until October. This whole healing process of bringing things into balance and figuring things out. And then once you have brought more things into balance in October and honored more of your emotions and are no longer stuck in this serious mindset, too hard, too cold emergency mode here, then you're going to have a lot of insights about your life and what to do next with it here that are going to be drastically different from what you thought your life was going to be like and how you thought your life was going to go. And it's going to require you to change and upend a lot of things. That then is going to lead you starting April of next year to, feel better. And like you now know what needs to be done in your life, but to be stuck cleaning up all the things that were done by the old Capricorn way and not by the new way here that needs to be done here really until 2025, when we're going to start to get a little bit more of a stride. Like now we're in the new experience and know what that's about and can move forward on that more easily. Okay. That's what I want to say there. Another note that I want to add, now that I'm done repeating that here, is that this is just a broad general note about the past few years. Okay. This horoscope is about us being stuck again, right? That was what it was about. We're feeling stuck again when it comes to a new chapter in life and unable to move forward. Okay. This stuckness that we're feeling now is similar but different to the stuckness we were feeling last April, right? We've been stuck for a while. Okay, and I want to make that clear here, what's been going on. Last April, we were stuck, which we talked about all last year here. Last April, we were stuck because we had the wrong perspective, mental perspective here about how to move forward, building something new in our lives. Okay, and the wrong mental perspective was a Scorpio thing and a Taurus thing, because that's where the eclipses were, still kind of are, but were. Okay, it was because of that, right? And what that means, right, is that last April we were stuck and unable to move forward into a new experience of life because we had too many Scorpio traits, where the South Node is that we needed to let go and we needed to cultivate more Taurus traits. And the Scorpio traits that we had that were too much here last year that we needed to let go of was being too intertwined with relationships and other people here, and getting too much of our power and worth from them, spending too much money or giving too much of our money away here, and indulging negative emotions and constantly changing things. That's why we were stuck last year. We had these wrong mental mindsets and habits that really needed to go. Okay. And then why? Why? We talked about this then, but maybe I'll say it here. Why did those need to go? Because when you're building something new, which is what we're doing, entering a new chapter of life that we've never done before in our lifetime, here, you don't want to go fast. You don't want to get involved with a lot of people, and you don't want to spend a lot of money because you don't know what the new chapter in life is and what you're doing yet. And if you're in a new experience of life, but you're connecting with all these people and you're spending all of this money, then what may happen 5, 10, 15 years down the road is you may realize that you did the wrong thing. You're with the wrong people, the wrong new experience of life here because you didn't really know what was going on yet and you acted too soon. When you're in a new experience of life, you want to go slower to get time to get your lay of the land and to figure out what's going on here. Okay, so that's what happened last year. Last year, we were stuck because we had the wrong habits and the wrong perspective that the new life required in order to build it, that anything new required, not this new life, just anything new in life requires. Okay, because in order to build something new, you need to go slow and take your time and be lean instead of taking on all of this overhead and all of this other stuff that's happening. Okay, and this time in the astrology, a year later, which is what this horoscope is for, we're also stuck, but we're stuck for a different reason now. What reason are we stuck for now? Not because we're not going slow, stable, secure, thrifty, self-reliant, but because of an emotional problem, and not because of a mental problem, right? And a habits, but because of an emotional problem now. And because of an emotional problem here, which is that we've been ignoring our emotions for so long, or hiding our emotions, or telling them they're not good, or having bad emotions here that now needs to be fixed here. That's going on. Okay, so keep this in mind. We've been stuck for a long time when it comes to fully moving this new life forward, especially last year and this year, but for two different reasons. Last year, we had the wrong mindset and habit, too intertwined with other people, spending too much money, too much change and instability, too fast. We needed to slow it down because that's how you build something just new that you never done before. And this year, we're slower. I think we got that. This year, we're slow, stable, secure, not giving our power away, saving money here. But we got another problem making us stuck, which is now the emotions. The emotions are not where they need to be, and we're still ignoring them and whatever, okay? They're different. Another thing that I want to note as well here is that the emotional problem, which is really now the focus for the next few months that's going on, this emotional problem here that is happening, to me, it feels like the real problem from the past 35 years that caused the whole stuff, right? Like the issue from last year that we were resolving that was keeping us stuck, the issue from last year that was keeping us stuck with the slow, stable, secure, that was just in general of like, that's how you build something new. Okay. Whether it's new now, new later, whatever, the emotional issue, okay, of we're not honoring our emotions here, that is the issue. That is the real issue and the fundamental problem of the past 15 years. That's core to our experience that really needs to be resolved here. So I think that's another thing that I want to note. We're stuck then, we're stuck now, but they're very different reasons. And this reason, the emotional one, feels more core to the real issue of our problem as to where the other one didn't. And I need to note that this one feels more core to the real issue of the past 15 years because of Pluto. Pluto been in Capricorn for the past 15 years, where Saturn and Jupiter were conjunct in 2020. This is the real issue here, the core of all of your problems, especially over the course of the past 15 years. They're all going to come back in some way, shape, or form to Pluto and Capricorn. Too stiff, too tough, too strict, too structured that either you were or someone else forced on you here and made you do that you didn't want. Okay. And I think we needed last year, right, to slow down, to be stable, secure, to get this new mindset here. We needed to fix that issue so that we could kind of get in the door, right? So we could kind of open a doorway to now resolve the real issue, to now see under the hood of what's actually going on in our soul and resolve the real issue that's really going on in order to adjust these things here in some kind of way, okay? We needed that to get here. To now the real stuckness in order to resolve that. Another thing that I want to note here as well is that they're both, even though like one feels like more of the real core issue from the past 15 years and one of them just feels like a generic issue that needs to happen every time we get in a new experience, they're both important as well to resolve. Because how can you say that you're in a new and better experience of life if you've got an old habit and if you've got an old mindset and if your emotions are still stuck back there? You know, how can you say you're in a new and better experience of life if you're still sad about something that happened 5, 10, 15 years ago? You and haven't fully resolved that and haven't fully understood that and processed that and what that was and overcome the trauma. They're both important. They both need to be worked out here. That's going on, even though one may be more of the core issue of the real problem than the other. Okay, so please keep that in mind as well. The other thing that I want to note too is that if we don't resolve this issue, like let's say some of us are like, nah, I don't want to focus on my emotions here and on what those are to a more extreme degree. I'm just going to continue living life the way I've always lived it. Too much status, career, structure, all of that. That's fine. Do it at your own risk. It's your own life. You do whatever you want. Really doesn't matter to me. Okay. But if you do that and you just continue living life the way you've always lived it, stiff, structured, to career, responsibilities, all of that, you're going to recreate the same problems, right? You're going to recreate the same problems in your life over and over and over again. Okay, because you haven't healed the core issue and because you're doing the same thing, right? If you do the same thing you've always done, you're going to get the same results. You're going to get the same thing over again in your life. And these situations that you don't like, that are too hard, too stiff, too structured, not in alignment with your emotions. And then you're going to look back 10, 15 years in the future and you're going to be like, why do I keep repeating the same pattern? Why am I in this loop? Why can I never get out of this situation in my life? And it just keeps recurring, which is a Pluto theme. And it's like, well, the same issue keeps recurring because you're bypassing the issue and you're not making the changes that you need and not getting the realization. So also keep that in mind here too. They're both important to figure out. The habits and the mindset, slow, stable, and secure, and the emotions here that's going on. And you really want to take the time to figure it out and stop moving forward fast in your life. Because if you are watching this horoscope and you're like, forget it, I feel fine, you may be moving forward in the old ways and not even realize it. And they may come back to bite you 10, 15 years when you create the same habit and pattern all over again. And you don't know why. Well, I know why, but you may not know why. Here, that can be a bit of a challenge. Right? So realize that too. Okay. Not only do I want to say that, but I also want to note as well, realize this can play out in a whole bunch of different ways. Maybe some of you are not naturally inclined towards status and success and caring about other people and career and reputation and what they think about you, but maybe you're more inclined towards being a little too rigid, a little too stiff, ignoring your emotions. This can play out in a whole bunch of different ways. Or maybe you're not the one. Maybe you're not the one who's been too stiff, too rigid, too structured, and too concerned about status, but maybe other people have forced that on you. Maybe you've been victimized by other people. Maybe other people have forced that on you, or outside experiences have forced you to be too hard and too stiff and not in your true nature and not the way that you've wanted to be. Here, that's going on. So keep in mind, this can work either way here and in a variety of different ways here. And you need to figure out how to apply it to your situation in the way that makes the most sense and is the most relevant here that is going on, because it's all coming back to these sort of issues. The Capricorn issue is the issue that's been your problem here in some way, shape, or form that now needs to be worked out. Not only keep in mind that this can play out in a variety of different ways, but also keep in mind this can play out in a variety of different areas, all across the board. It can definitely play out in a lot of career and work areas, especially with Pluto being in Capricorn, a career sign. So this could definitely play out for tons of you over the course of the past 15 years, at least. In your careers, you choosing the wrong careers. Here are the ones that really aren't meant for you, or trying to build your career in the totally wrong ways that really are not in alignment with your emotions and your heart and soul at all. Or you choosing the right career perhaps, but the people in your career, like your bosses and coworkers here, making things really hard on you, overworking you, not letting you do what was really important to you in your heart here, ignoring you, shutting you down, things like that. This could also play out in terms of home and family, and family members. Maybe some of you have family members or siblings or things like that over the course of the past 15 years, they have been too harsh on you. They haven't cared about your emotions and what you felt. They've been too controlling, too strict, focused too much on your life and where it's going and whether you're being responsible and things like that. That's happening as well. That could have also been very hard for you, or vice versa. Or you could have been the controlling family member here that's making your other family members miserable, because all you care about is their career and where their life is going, and are ignoring their emotions. It could play out in those kind of ways here that's going on. It could also play out in terms of doctors and health issues here that's going on. Maybe in terms of the health for the past 15 years, you haven't really listened to your body and your emotions and what you're feeling. And you've just done all this stuff that you think you should do because doctors who have all these degrees and this status and this reputation has recommended it, even though your body didn't agree with it and didn't really think it was right. you know? So it could be situations like that have also occurred, or maybe over the course of the past 15 years, you've been too busy trying to heal your physical body when really the problem is an emotional problem, and you need to stop trying to heal the physical body and start healing the emotional body in order to bring things together here. Or it could be doctors being too hard and too stiff on you and taking advantage of you here. Do you see? And not listening to your emotions, not listening to your intuition. It can play out in tons of ways. Or this can be romantic relationships, you know, and friendships and personal relationships where people that you've been connecting with romantically, husbands, wives, spouses, partners, friendships, where they've been too hard on you. And every time you tried to express an emotion, they've shut down. Can't relate emotionally. Don't think emotions are valuable. Think you're just being a baby. Why do you complain every time you say this stuff here that's going on? Or they could be absent, non-existent, you know, can't connect with them emotionally, focus on other things. Or you could be that. You could be that friend, and you could be that romantic partner that's shutting your own partner down and saying, look, I don't like your emotions. You want this? No. What? I'm focused. I'm over here. I got other things I need to take care of. You know, you can be that person here as well that's going on. So you got to realize there are a lot of different ways that this can play out, and you got to apply it to your own situation in whatever way that is. And for some of you, that's going to be really obvious. For some of you, it's going to be really obvious of what that is. And for some of you, it might not be, but you need to look at these patterns here to start to figure things out. What's going on, especially with Pluto at the last degree here, and in Capricorn, which in some ways does have a lot to do with history and patterns that have repeated and things like that. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at your inside degree and then pull your card. So let me get that up on the screen here. I have this up here too. I also wanted to show you, this is my new website I've been redesigning before I get to your inside degree. I've spent like the past 10 months doing this. I wanted it to be so creative and just like different and my personality. And I feel like I'm really starting to figure something out. So if you want to check out my website, you can do that. It's etherealastrology.com. If you want to sign up for my horoscope videos, I do a lot of horoscopes a week, 12 sun sign horoscopes, 1 weekly video. Here I do 3 advice videos. You can go to Ethereal Vision and click join here to learn more about that and click on some of these. I should also note too, I have a new Horoscope Hub page. So you don't have to be a member or signed up, but if you click over here on this, looks like my internet's not connected at the moment, but if you click over here on my Horoscope Hub, it will take you to some things that are going on here this week, and you can, let's see, look more into that here. So just wanted to let you know that's going on as well. Okay, yeah, my internet's not working, but it's fine. We're going to go ahead and move on now. What I'm going to do by looking at your inside degree is I'm just going to look at one, because this video's gotten kind of long here, that I think is the most relevant. And we're going to look at that inside degree here for the actual full moon itself, which is at 11 degrees Capricorn here. So we're going to look at that. 11 degrees Capricorn, it says polarities go against each other in order to find each other again. Okay, that stands out to me as being super important here, because that's what we talked about in this video, right? The polarity point of Pluto, bringing opposites into balance, Cancer and Capricorn, Cancer and Capricorn. Okay, here we are. The degree of the actual full moon is about polarities going against each other in order to find each other again. So this to me is confirmation from someone else, Elias Lonsdale, who wrote these, not me, that is what's happening, that we're realizing at this full moon in Capricorn that we got a problem moving forward, and that the reason why we've got a problem moving forward is because we're too Capricorn, too stiff structured, and that now we need to cultivate the polarity. Cancer, opposite sign, emotion, nurturing, sensitivity, in order to bring this into balance here, and that these polarities, Cancer and Capricorn, can have to go at each other in order to figure things out. Okay, let's read on. It says, when they are still busy going against each other, they pull you apart. And this experience is so definitive, so intensive, and so traumatic that you learn to bring the polarities back together in any way you can. What does that mean to me? It means to me that, yes, this is uncomfortable. Having to realize that you need to go in the polar opposite direction, that you were going in before. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. It is traumatic, that it is hard to figure out here and to figure out what to do. Okay. The journey to make this possible is an extensive one, because along the way you must mediate between discrimination and release. What does that mean? Discrimination and release. Because along the way you must mediate between which Capricorn traits are good and need to be cultivated more of and which ones need to let go of here in order to move forward. Because the whole point, let me say this here, because the whole point of polarities and of doing the opposite point of Capricorn and Pluto Cancer is not to get rid of Capricorn altogether. We need Capricorn. Like, Capricorn needs to exist. It's part of the zodiac for a reason. It just needs to exist in a better way, in a different way, in a better way that's more useful for the situation and more helpful here for what we're trying to create. So I love this degree so far, right? Because it's saying, it's confirming the fact that we need to cultivate the opposite of Capricorn, which is Cancer, more emotion, sensitivity, nurturing, to balance out the too harsh, cold nature here that's going on, that can feel really challenging and really intense here. And that's going to require us to make some hard decisions and to figure out like which Capricorn traits are necessary and which ones aren't here as we move forward, and to really sort through those. It says you are walking a collective karmic edge between the old and the new, in which both of them must be honored in just the right ways. Yet the work it takes to bring polarities together in fresh ways is monumental. Okay. And that work is utterly redemptive, of infinite meaning and scope, in opening doors and letting totality in by conviction, by affinity, and by surrender to the great inevitable. So not only does this confirm to me here that we need, is that we need to basically balance these opposites and these polarities here, and that it is uncomfortable because we're going to have to figure out which one to let go of and which to keep and all of that. But that it is a bit karmic, right? Pluto's about karma. It is about karma and patterns, because to me, karma is about habits and patterns from the past. It is about that here. It is hard, but that if we can do it here, if we can bring these opposites into balance, it's actually going to be very redemptive and very positive and open doors and get us moving again here in much better ways. So this to me is the degree that I really love. And I think you can see its relevance here to what I said, a pretty standard, pretty face value that's going on. Okay. Oh, before I pull your card, I just want to note my website did load here. This page, if you go to Ethereal Vision and click on the Horoscope Hub, this page you can read about my thoughts for the upcoming week and what's going on here as like a little bit of a weekly horoscope. You can't watch any of the videos because those are all password protected, but you can just get a little synopsis of what I think is happening here. So you can also take a look at that if you want. And you can also too, I have another new thing I did. Here's the monthly hub. You can also take a look at that, and you can see a lot of my thoughts here on the lunar month as well, and what's going on and important aspects that are happening and thoughts like that. So please feel free to check out my new website if you want. I've been designing that for a very long time. Now let me go ahead and let me pull your card. Okay. All right, so your card here for this full moon in Capricorn is the Temperance. What is funny is about balance. Temperance about balance here, reversed, and about healing too. And we've got at the bottom of the deck Karma. Sorry, what is this? This is Judgment here in this deck upright. Okay, the first thing that I want to note is we have two major Arcana cards here. Okay, this indicates a big deal, that this full moon is a BFD, as my dad would say, is a big deal here, very important, not your average full moon in Capricorn here that's going on. So that's important to note, which I think is absolutely true as I've interpreted it here with the Pluto stuff. Okay, and not only that here, but you know, Temperance to me is about healing, emotional healing, internal healing, and about balances, right? Bringing opposites into balance here that's going on. Because I think the story is that the angel in this card is like a perfect balance of like masculine and feminine, or like a little bit of both. So I'm definitely getting a sense here that we're not balanced here emotionally, internally, in a lot of different areas of our life, and we're not fully healed because it's reversed, and that needs to happen first until Judgment, until we can move forward again here in the way that it is that we need, and feel better about our circumstance here, and rise to higher levels of success and better new beginnings as we move forward. Okay, so that's what I think the message is that I'm getting here. And maybe another message too is that these better experiences want to come, right? Want to come, but we have to heal first in order to, you know, and rebalance things in order to bring this stuff together here that's going on. Another thing too, the Temperance to me can be a little introspective, especially because there's usually water in this card with the angel, you know, or alchemy, you know, depicting alchemy. So I think another thought here too is that in order for us to rebalance a lot of these things over the course of the next few months and heal, we might need to spend a lot of time alone in order to do it. And that's Cancer for you, right? The opposite point of Pluto is in Cancer. Cancer is the lowest part of the chart. It is intimate, it is sensitive, it is home and family, right? It likes to be alone. When you're in home and family, you're a private, alone, safe space with yourself. So it's like a lot of you might need to spend a lot of time alone here over the course of these next few weeks and months here, in order to figure out what you're really feeling and break these old, habits and patterns and emotional things like that here, and move forward and figure things out that is going on. So I think that's also a thought here that is happening here. Be alone, or figure things out with yourself here. This could also indicate spiritual practices being very helpful over the course of the next few months, and practices that you do that get you more in touch with your emotions. Like, I highly recommend that. Here is really what needs to occur, even though we're going to talk more about what needs to occur next video. Not only that, but I find it's interesting too that on this deck, on this Judgment card, there's an eclipse. This is an eclipse here. I believe this is a new moon eclipse here. So this to me is also a sign here that this healing that we need to do to heal and to rebalance a lot of things in our lives and emotions and perspective, it's going to take at least until the next eclipse season around October of this year, that we've got a solar eclipse in Libra, and I believe a lunar eclipse in Taurus, right? And that's important too. Speaking of balance and healing, right? The next eclipse we're going to have is going to be a solar eclipse in Libra. What is Libra about? Sure. Relationships. I get it. Everyone thinks that. Yeah, it's a relationship sign. But not only is Libra a relationship, it's about balance. It's symbolized by the scales, by bringing things into balance. And what are we trying to do here? We're trying to balance Cancer and Capricorn. We're trying to balance polarities and opposites. So you got to understand, this is going to take us until October, the next solar eclipse season here, in order for this to occur. At least that's going on, in order to bring this stuff into balance. But that if we're diligent, it will happen. It will happen. It can happen. It wants to happen here. Look, it's a joyful card. Everyone's celebrating the solar eclipse here, and going to be a very good thing that's going on. Okay. Another thing that I want to note as well, so interesting kind of how dark this card is and how light this one is. And we do have the full moon, the opposite point of Pluto in Cancer. And Cancer is I don't know if I want to say a darker sign. Like, I don't mean dark as in like dark, but is a sign that to me does have to do more with the nighttime energy, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, which usually comes out at night, and because Cancer is at the bottom part of the chart, which rules like the midnight hour here, and because Cancer is feminine, right, being correlated to the moon, mother, woman, which is more of the yin, right, darker energy, and like the yin yang symbol here. So I think there's another thought here too, that not only over the course of the next few months do we need to heal and rebalance, ourselves, and maybe take some time to ourselves alone to do it, especially until the next eclipse season in October here. But that might require us to sift through some dark emotions, or some parts of our soul that we don't show a lot of people here, and to feel more of those in order for us to come out on the other side here too, and to know that and to understand that over the course of the next few months while we fix this. Here, a lot of time alone, a lot of time spiritual emotional pursuits, a lot of uncomfortable emotions may come out here while you do it, and a lot of things that you've kept hidden or don't show other people might also come up to be resolved as well, and to plan the next few months to deal with that here that's going on. And not only is that my thought here, to plan the next few months to deal with that, but to also, another thought here, because the next few months are going to be emotional, and that's where we need to focus on. There, you also need to try to push off any other projects you've got going on. If there are some other big things you want to do in your life to move it forward here, I don't know if those are going to move forward in the way that you might like. I think you also need to put those off until October at the very earliest, but especially sometime next year, April-ish, or if you can't put them off, right, then to just pace yourself with them here, and to take it slow, or to not have any expectations here about how those things might play out. Because the next few months are really not about charging forward physically big projects here. It's more about healing needing to be the primary focus, and working with the emotions and bringing that into balance before we move onwards. Okay, and I think that's all I'm going to say there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you got a lot out of it here, and I will talk to you on the next video.